every single piece of information that is available online to prepare for the GMAT is not only available to you, it's available to everybody else. And it's always going to be a test that is scored on a bell curve. What does that mean for you? It means that for you to be able to improve your score, you have to become better than a corresponding segment of the population. So you're scoring in the middle range or the 50th percentile, and you want to raise your score to the 90th percentile, you have to become better than 40% of the people taking the test. This is not easy. How do you do that? Well, you have to do the following. Understand what the test measures. It measures high order reasoning. So if you're someone who's not already good at math and you're someone who's not a native English speaker, how do you actually improve your score and how do you actually gain an edge? Well, you have to understand that in Quant, you're competing against everybody around the world where there are a lot of strong math programs. For example, in Asia, students are really good at math. And so is it really realistic for you to really push your score beyond, or to try to push your score beyond the 70th percentile or the 80th percentile? If you're someone who's not already really good at math, it becomes really hard beyond a certain limit, and you're going to have to rely on luck. What about someone who's not a native English speaker? How do you actually raise your score? Now, a common mistake that a lot of candidates commit is that they obsess over Quant because it's so much easier to create a study plan for Quant. You know what the concepts are, you say you're going to solve easy medium problems, and you do them again, you do some mock tests, and you forget about verbal. Because you think, well, verbal, what can I do? It's just English. Well, there's a lot that you can do for verbal, and this is exactly how I designed this study program, and I don't like to call it a course, more like a study routine. Everybody's different, everybody's going to have to spend different times to prepare for the GMAT, but the key is you have to identify these skills that are measured on the test, and you have to assess your strengths and weaknesses, and you have to create a plan that not only addresses those weaknesses and eliminates them, but targets them on a regular basis so that you do not regress and that you make sure that they stick. So it's important to focus on Quant and improve your Quant score, but to understand that there's a limit to how much you can push your Quant score beyond a certain range, and also focus on verbal. There is a lot that you can do to improve your verbal score, and that is what we would do in this study routine. So there are 4 things that you can do to improve your verbal score. Number 1, to improve your ability to comprehend the English language. There's only one way to do this, a lot of volume of good standardized questions. Number 2, improve your ability to recognize the contexts that are tested on the exam. Again, familiarity through solving a lot of questions. They can ask you about sciences, about physics, about humanities, about history, about business. If you haven't read a lot of material in those subjects already, you're really going to struggle on the test. Now, they do say that prior knowledge of texts and knowledge that they have on the passages doesn't really matter, which is true, but it's misleading. You need to have a familiarity with the topics and the themes that you see in passages. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard for you to capture the essence of the idea and understand or predict how things come together. The third thing that you can do is improve your ability to identify the structure. So is it premise, conclusion, cause, effect, plan, outcome? Can you identify what part of the passage is the hypothesis? What part of the passage is the main point of the author? The last thing that you can improve is to eliminate the incorrect answer choices using specific, compelling reasons, using sound verbal reasoning principles, and to choose the correct answer using specific, compelling reasons, using sound verbal reasoning principles, and very importantly, to be able to do that consistently throughout the test. And so you'll be able to do that 95% of the time, not 50% of the time. That is when your verbal score is going to shoot up, and that is also going to improve your Quant score because it's going to improve your ability to understand the really complex problems where it's very difficult to translate into an equation. And this is what we do in this study routine. Sign up or book a call.